What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus. It's match day. It's Juve. It's Atalanta. No help for Motta? Maybe not. Maybe not. Other than one signing so far, but we're gonna get to it all. A lot in the news to discuss, and a lot in the rumor mill leading up to this game. And you get a team meeting called by the players. Signs that maybe there is some fire where all that smoke was coming from around the derby. We're gonna cover it all, and I got Anthony and I got Paolo with me. Fellas, how you doing? Anthony, how's it going, man?
I am so excited for the Chihuahua check-in today.
Yeah, we got a good Chihuahua check-in, I'll tell you that. Paolo, how you doing?
I'm feeling a bit snarky today.
All
I'm trying to figure
right.
out what stage of grief I'm at right now, and I'm feeling a bit snarky.
All
Love
right.
it. It's
You know what?
Tuesday. Love
That's
it.
good. It's good.
Okay.
Snarky Tuesday. Let's let her fly. Let's let her fly. We got RB Comps. Let's go. We got Justin in here. Let's go, boys. Reno wasting no time. The better wake up. Yeah, get the espressos fired up. Okay, let's get these guys waking up. This is gonna be a big one here. And ciao, Cugino Eddie. Great to see you in here. The A team. Davide Caru. Ciao, ciao, compa. Vincenzo G. Hey, boys. Winner of the kit, the last kit giveaway, and the other two going back into play. But
I'm taking heat already. What's with Swarit and Justin? I think Justin's asking about the Steelers. Swarit, what the fuck, man?
oh, Soiree, come on, man. What's going on here? What do you mean? Nah, Scangavino. It's good though. I like the Scangavino. Now, let's start things off. I think we can all, the derby didn't really go the way we wanted. We could start off with a good little laugh, a good little chuckle. Like Serie A never, ever lets you down. Okay?
Never.
And the Chihuahua check-in today is just amazing. And I let anyone that is a Lazio fan have it yesterday because this is just hilarious to me. Okay, so Chihuahua check-in today goes to Mr. Juan Bernabe. Okay, so Lazio have fired the falconer. All right, so this guy, essentially at Lazio, they have the eagle that is Olympia, and it flies around and it lands. This is the handler. He is a controversial figure himself too, having been banned in matches previously for fascist salutes and everything. They have cut ties after a penile implant surgery and him sharing the results in its fully erect glory all over Instagram. This is
For the Falcon?
absolutely hilarious. I have no words, but Serie A continues to never let you down. So here you go. Lazio and Juan Bernabe cutting ties, and absolutely phenomenal storyline coming out of yesterday, beating all the transfer news. But Skanga, come on, man. Like, what is...
You want to know something? I didn't even know. I tried to think of a comment for this, but I'm like, you just let this ride itself out. You just let it. There's nothing you can say to this.
it's
But I
it's
thought the
just
fascist
ridiculous.
salute guy was the guy before him. I thought that was the other guy.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought he.
it's this guy. Yeah, he was banned games and stuff. He's been around. He's been with them for quite some time. Anyways,
Okay.
wow. Serie A, ladies and gentlemen. Serie A. There's the Chihuahua check-in. It goes to them. And Lazio, just in general, gets one of these, okay? And I hate
First
that.
thing I thought of. The
I
first thing I
hate that
thought of
we're
was
looking
the
at them for
Austin
results.
Powers.
Paolo.
Uh, so the Falcon had the procedure, or that guy,
Well, that would just really make it that much better. But
the guy. Okay. Well, at least he looks happy about it.
He is.
he's a pretty happy guy, yeah. It was cut ties. They were he was doing that for quite some time. I forget the term of how long he's doing, but anyways,
Okay. Get it.
fantastic. All right, fantastic. Now we get to the news around our club. We get a signing. Juve has signed Alberto. They just got the wrong one, everybody. I'm still here, okay? But Alberto Costa, 21-year-old right back from Vitória SC out of Portugal, and an interesting pickup.
Mhm.
The storyline is we don't need right back. Why did we sign this right back? What is the point in this signing? In a couple of years, he's going to be at Genoa, and just so on and so on and so on.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I want to get your thoughts on the pickup before I even get into mine. So, Paulo, any thoughts on this signing of the 21-year-old right back, Alberto Costa?
Speaking of implants, I'm glad we got some support. It does mean we're getting more girth in our D. So I'm happy about him being added. He could turn into a good option for Savona. You know, his style, apparently, from what I've learned in the past 24 hours, he's a little more aggressive, likes to dribble high, likes to press deep. So he might be more of an offensive version of Savona, give Savona a bit of a break, less pressure on him, game in and game out. So I think that's fine. The price is right. It's something like a couple of million over 5 years or something ridiculous. So it's almost like nothing.
12 to 15 mil payable in 6 installments over 5 years.
So you might not even notice it on the books. Like you might even go, are we even
it's
paying
going
this
to
guy?
be next to nothing on the books, and you can't lose on that, because even if he sticks around and helps you a couple of years as some coverage, you offload him if you have to or you need to, and it won't matter. So
yeah, so I'm fine with it. Let's go get a couple of those in. Why not?
Yeah. Scanga, what do you think about this one?
Zero problems with it, considering Danilo's on his way out. 1 for 1. I think it's if Danilo was going out and we didn't make this move, people would be like, "What are we doing? We're not." So I think Danilo's not getting playing time anyways. Why not? Like a stab at the dark. It's worst case scenario, you're out 16 mil over 6 years. Like, what are we even talking about here? I think it's a fantastic bit of business.
You absolutely have to get some coverage in there. The immediate thoughts that crossed my mind were, number one, Danilo is for sure going. Number two is I don't think we're going to get 2 center backs, everybody. We're looking at the title here, no help for Motta. You're looking at the options that are dwindling that we're going to go through. They were dwindling a while ago. So Giuntoli's got to get creative. He's got to find something. To Alex P's point, this is kind of what we were looking for from Giuntoli, is finding these cheaper deals that could pay dividends, and low risk stuff, something a little more low risk, especially coming out of the summer. We splashed big. It hasn't been going the best. I'm not going to write it off completely for the higher wage guys, the higher purchases, but all the little ones were good. Cabal was good before injury. Thuram has been fantastic at a 20 million purchase. Conceição at 30 on a release clause. It's been electric for me. So those ones are good. And this is the kind of move that you want to look for from him. But it tells me Kalulu's locked in at center back for the rest of the year as well. Savona, it needs a little bit of help too. And this kid, he sounds good. Sounds like a well-rounded player that offers a little bit different than Savona too in terms of the attack. Very, very strong dribbler, very aggressive, is attack-minded, but solid defensively. The only real cons you can look up in previous scouting reports are that the aggression sometimes puts him in some sketchy predicaments defensively, and if you look at a lot of his defensive work, it's coming back towards protecting certain fast breaks and things like that. But what's interesting here too, I went back. I like whenever we hear about guys that I have no friggin' clue about, I like to look at scouting reports like that as far back as I can find and follow it with some stuff more recent. Some of the older stuff said he's also capable of playing the left side as well, and that he can actually play right and left wing if need be. So you got a guy that's got a lot of versatility, and he's super cheap, and we need help at the back. So, I mean, if we're complaining, I'd rather have a sack of water, like Scanga says, than absolutely nothing at all. So let's go. It is what it is. When it comes to the other targets, Silva, Benfica apparently has shut the door. And there's been
Obviously.
multiple sources that have said the door is shut.
Mhm.
Araujo, 50 million euros is the rumor that Juve might. Number one, I'm not sure how they're going to get there without a sale. So maybe something's going down that we don't know about. But Araujo, 50 million euros. What's your immediate gut reaction? We know the injury history. Skanga?
Center back.
Yeah. Great center back, a solid center back, but my God, 96 games in what, 3.5 years missed?
Well, my thing is, what are you going to do with him next year? Because you have Bremer coming back. Does
Well,
that
you want to
lose?
find a partnership for Bremer. You want to find that top guy next to Bremer, right?
I just think 50 mil. It's a big price tag, massive price tag. I don't. But we need how many what center backs do we have right now? That's what I keep falling back to. Who do we have right now? We have two. Who else plays back there?
That's it.
That's it. So
That's it.
sometimes when you're backed in a corner, you might get this. It's unfortunate, but we're backed in the corner a little bit. You might
Yeah.
have to trigger on it.
Especially if there's no other guys that we can get. And I understand getting a guy of his quality, but the
Yeah.
risk is there for sure when it
Yes.
comes to injury. Does it feel like we're making past mistakes maybe with this injury history? Paulo, what do you think?
50 million's too much. It really annoys me that Silva, they had him at like 110 or some shit, and the guy's not even playing. He's got mental issues, like he's been on the bench most of the season. And then for Arul, the guy hardly ever plays his whole life. And they wanted something like 80 or something for him. So I'm really annoyed by these stupid prices for these guys who aren't doing anything for their clubs. It's really annoying. So I don't like 50. I don't like that the guy's always injured. And I'm
Yeah.
kind of annoyed because I'm stuck on Hanchko a bit. And Feyenoord's, they're in second. They're 4 points out of second. They're in the Champions League. They don't want this guy to go. He's a rock for
No.
them. But I'd rather spend 40 on him, maybe try and pull him free for 40 right now, or maybe 35 in the summer, than maybe risk having this guy for 50, 60 for several years if there's an obligation of any kind, him being injured. So I'm really kind of angry at the price, and I am a bit bothered at the idea that there aren't other options at center back in the world, on the planet Earth right now.
I totally feel your pain, but
Yes.
I understand it because it's January, man, and you just
I
don't
know.
do your shopping in January. You really, really don't. You got to find like the moves like we did for Alberto Costa. These are kind of the moves you expect in January. Some, support pieces here and there, but to find your main men in January is extremely difficult. I've been very critical of them not working free agency back in November to at least
Right.
help and get you here. Maybe, just
October.
maybe June Tully was just trying to see and push first for this, and he might still have to end up falling back on free agency, everybody, because you can't let Motta run with two CBs here on out.
That's what I was gonna say. It's a double edged. I get it. I'm with you guys with the 50 million injury. I get it. I 100% agree. Maybe the thinking is selling Vlahovic plus making Champions League plus getting a good $50 million deal spread out over 5-6 years. That could be the thinking of what he wants to do here. But you to your point, we have 19 games plus another two Champions League plus Coppa Italia, so whatever, like 23 games with two center backs.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
got to do something.
No, I agree with that. We've seen in the past several weeks how Kalulu and Gatti are getting exposed. Both starting all the time, both being the owner center backs, both having all that pressure. When they are starting to get tired or make mistakes, we're letting in goals. So I get it. I agree. So maybe it's the right conditions, like you're saying, Skanga. Maybe it's just the right agreement is okay for this guy. Apparently, he's a monster. He's a beast, and him and Bremer would be the best pairing in Europe, or one of the best pairings in Europe if he stays healthy. So
If he stays healthy.
A
And
lot
then
of
we
risk.
get back to good old J-Med and how much trust I have in that crew. It's
Where the hell is Milik?
We're in oh, he's there. He's just set up shop. He's quite comfortable. Yeah, he's the welcome party at J-Med, I think. He just welcomes them in. Hey guys, it's great to see you. Haven't seen you in months. Um we're we got to get some business done no matter who it is, like, and if it
Luca.
is free agency or whatnot, you have to bring some cavalry in, because the longer this goes, it's getting intense, and you have everything else that's going on in the background around this team. Something that I said for a while, like, while the wins don't come, I said it starts to, build into this kind of beast, this kind of monster, where now mentally it starts to get at everybody, the players, etc. Guys can start getting heated. I think we're starting to see signs, obviously, of Motta being affected by it. You start getting all the rumblings we were hearing, some heated confrontations, both prior and post match. Derby de la Mola. Motta got sent off. He won't be at the sidelines today. After that exchange with the other coach and the fourth official in that match. So he's not even sidelined today. Everything's mounting up. Everything that we were hearing, aftermath, just to recap for anybody that might have missed that post-match show, is like, you had heated confrontations before, you had heated confrontations after. The story is that finally some of the guys have spoken up to what's kind of going on locker room. Perrin was one of them. If there is any truth to that, tells you a lot kind of about what's going on. He's one of the few guys that actually has a voice in that locker room currently. But, we said the same thing post-match. Take it with a grain of salt. It's just what's being said and what's being shared out there. And I didn't jump on Brambini, was the first one to put it out there, Brambati, whatever the hell his name is. I actually started getting it too from quite a few people. And it was no surprise to me that yesterday you hear about Locatelli getting the players together and calling a meeting with Motta. So player-initiated meeting with Motta. What's the first thing that goes through your heads, Skanga?
Dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire? Paulo? First thing that goes through your head when you hear players call a meeting with the coach?
A big shitstorm.
And you just heard about it this morning in the green room.
Yeah, and he was just like, are you kidding me? It's not usually a good sign, everybody.
Never a good sign in
it's
any
not
sport.
Usually a good sign. The warning signs have been there all around us. Like, we've been kind of pointing to it, but you want to remain hopeful because, like I say, you're in this position right now where you're not far from getting it together and, just being at a place that's considered okay for the circumstances, but you're also not far from a complete spiral and a disaster, because I think back to some of those other coaches, and when the results weren't there, we were saying it would take a catastrophe to have to make a mid-season change or anything like that. Creating a gap of 6 to 7 points from top 4 with how we were playing would be catastrophe, because I have little faith we could turn that around. And we've pulled close to 70 million euros out of Champions League right now as it stands. If you take that away from the revenue next year, guess what? Get ready to say goodbye to maybe Cambiaso, maybe Yildiz. And then those are two guys you want to consider pillars in what you're trying to put together.
Yeah, you think we were getting built with scraps before.
Something's got to give, right? So it's touch and go right now, but hearing that, not a good sign amongst all the noise around these heated confrontations and everything, on top of a captain's armband that we can't keep on one friggin' player. Like, I don't understand. On top of consistently going to certain guys in the lineup that may not merit getting that start based on what we're seeing on the pitch. Meritocracy seems to have gone completely out the window.
Did you see do you have the projected lineup for today?
I have our projected lineup, yeah.
Yeah.
guys, I'm concerned. I'm legit concerned right
You
now.
should be when players are asking for. Normally, when it's players only meeting, that's when it's like, okay, the
Yeah.
coaching, something's not coming from the coaching staff down. The players aren't getting it. When your captain calls, put something in the coach's schedule for players meeting with the coach. I don't know if that's we don't agree with your tactics. We don't agree with who's, like you said, the meritocracy, who's getting playing time over who, how you're handing out the armband. You want to know something? Could be all the above.
Player treatment, Danilo,
It could be all the above. We don't know.
Fagioli.
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think guys are finally kind of having enough of it and maybe speaking up. I could see Perin easily doing that for a guy like Danilo, and even a kid like Fagioli. It's like we're skinny, we're thin, and like guys just can't get in, and you're gonna pull the chute for what? It's wild to me, man. It's wild to me. I think some of these signs, maybe Motta's gotten a little too coming in a little too hot, maybe for a first season or whatever. Maybe had to ease up a bit. I don't know. Maybe it's taken a toll from summer stuff, and even Vlahovic. There's like, just to add all the smoke that's in there, might as well lay it all out on the line. But apparently Vlahovic could play and has been able to play these past couple matches. And it's a big push to see you later. You have no other striker. So
yeah, it could also be that he didn't come in hot enough. You can't you can't let the inmates run the asylum. Like Allegri didn't let the inmates run the asylum. You didn't like it, but sometimes maybe his hand isn't heavy enough, and he's letting the players get too comfortable and be like, "Hey, we're going to tell you what to do."
Are we pissing around with points though? Like, this is
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
like,
we're pissing around with everything. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
yeah.
All the above.
When the players get together, if you ever worked at a company and you're a manager of some kind and all the people around you are not saying a lot and then they're all kind of having a meeting,
Yeah.
it's because they're probably sitting there very concerned. And I mean, I'm not going to say, but I don't think it's a good sign for Motta. And I think the players could easily just be sitting there saying, I don't know, what do you think we're supposed to do?
Yes, and that's the
Yeah.
worst case scenario.
Yeah. It's
Because they don't look like they know what they're doing on the pitch. They haven't since a couple of interesting starts,
October.
like a couple of nice
I
wins
don't know,
against
like,
shitty
but
teams in the first part of the season.
it was January 12th. We faced Torino that was in god awful form, and we look so uninspired. Like, I watched that game, and everybody that was trying to tell me different, I had to disagree. I never got the feeling once from that team that they understood how critical those 3 points were given the rest of the schedule. I never got that feeling. I never got that vibe. I never got the urgency coming from them, other than a couple of guys, and 19-year-old Keenan Yildiz was one of them.
Yeah, we said in the post game show we never thought it. Once it was 1-1, we never got the feeling that we were going to break that deadlock.
It's not like it's the first time. It's over and over and over, and there's nothing. It's not like there's, okay, like you got a mentality issue, you got an approach issue, like that is a problem, but you also have no patterns of play, no chemistry still up top amongst any of the guys. Today, you want to throw Weston McKennie as a left winger to start this game. We're all over the place. Like, now all of a sudden it's like he's just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. I don't know.
Okay, I got a question for you. I was going to save this for Storm to Barn. I wrote it down. It's going to be. We sort of talked about it in the group chat yesterday. If you could put a percentage of blame, like players versus Motta, like percentage of blame of where we are, why things aren't. I don't know what the answer is. I thought it'd be interesting what the Army has to say. Is it 100% on Motta, 50-50, like players versus Motta? Because, and do you think, to add to that, do you think that there's some games where, okay, things aren't working well, but we are the more talented team on the field, and the players should just be able to figure it out and just say, go get that extra goal.
What's your percentages for the split on coach to players?
In December, it was probably 50-50. As we've gone this past 2 months, it's probably 70-30, Motta 70. But I still think there's times when the players can, grab the bull by the horns and like take over the game themselves. Like they don't need Motta to do that for them.
Why is it not happening?
It does. When they're in a bind, they do it. The only times we've looked aggressive, strong, powerful, motivated, dangerous is when Motta gets a red card, when we get a red card, when we're down 2-0. It's always when there's desperation and duress where we show up or somebody shows up. Yes. Otherwise, we haven't.
I gotta say, obviously, number one, they're all involved. I mean, players are not free and clear of this either, but I fail to believe that this roster can't get by the likes of Venezia, Lecce, Parma, etc. Like, you've got enough on the pitch. We say it every game. You're looking at the rosters. There comes a time you just got to get the job done. Motta for me is 75%. 75%. I'm sorry. I can't watch a team make the same mistakes. And when I was calling it back when I had patience because it was new and you were seeing some of the shortcomings, like, hey, you got to clean this up. You got to clean this up. Well, holy shit. Fast forward to, January and you got the same bloody issues and nothing has been done to resolve it. Instead, you keep getting force-fed the same thing that hasn't worked. And it's like, okay, what exactly are you trying? You're not trying anything. There's no change in aggression. And I've always said, teams are reflections of their managers. And I'm sorry, we go through moments where we look absolutely frantic, panicked, and scared. And I think maybe some of the lineups are showing a little bit of fear and maybe reaction to what he expects out of the other team as opposed to being proactive. And today might be a sign of that, but we'll see what actually gets finalized. Albanese, albeit not very good for transfers, but he's been solid when it comes to the lineups, and he laid the one out there, so we will go through it in a bit. I have no idea. And, I get the comments here for you. It's insane. Alberto seems to be a better coach than Motta. Maybe sarcasm there. I just feel the way I do when I watch this team play. And I fail to believe that another coach can't equal what we've seen so far or maybe bring a little bit better. I'm not saying you fire him right this second. I never have. But what I said is it's getting dangerously close. I completely understand everybody that says we don't make this move in mid-season. We never do. Zaccaroni was a mid-season move, by the way, but it has no bearings on whether we've done it before or we haven't. You have to reach that breaking point. If this team, again, if you want to see these guys built, okay, if you want to see this team actually build something, you take away Champions League revenue and you are hurting. You are hurting next season and you're going to take steps backwards because what are you going to do if you lose revenue? You start cutting costs. And guess what? Some assets are going to have to go. So you're not at square one, but you're going to have to go back. That's why I hate any comparisons when we say you got to give him time like Arteta, etc. The revenue is worlds apart. Okay?
Yeah, but Berto, if you want to make comparisons, which I know we kind of don't always want to, and for good reasons, and also because we're Juve, we don't give a shit about other leagues or other teams and, all that shit. But I'm going to do a comparison anyway.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
If you look at Man U, right, Man U's a bit of a shit show, right? But they are a storied team. So for that reason alone, I will say Man U's a storied team. We're a storied team, right? They went to a new manager a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. They switched from a 4 at the back to a 3 at the back. So they're implementing a whole new system, completely new system of playing with the old players that were brought in from another coach over time to play a totally different way of soccer, footy. Now, they've recently turned it around a bit. And whether they do well or not, whether they get the 3-man at the back system right, whether the coach is confident or not, right? He hasn't said, I'm going to go 4 at the back until we get things right. He said, we're doing 3 at the back. We're going to figure it out. Go out there and play that way. Play the way I want you to play. Otherwise, you don't play. So Rashford's out. And now he's being shopped around Italy. So that's what's happening in that situation at that team. So my point is, you could talk about Arteta or you could talk about Amorim, but there's a way to get a tune out of players if they just go and play the goddamn game. It's not a complicated game. And the whole season, we have looked like we do not know what we're doing. The players do not look like they know what they are doing. And when we succeed, it's because the players take it upon themselves to bounce back in very difficult situations. So to your question, Skanga, I would give it 95% Motta and 5% players. However, the caveat is Giuntoli has left us in a hole with not enough guys on the bench.
Yeah.
We've lost Bremer. Just like City lost Rodri, when you lose one of your big players, sometimes it can totally derail a team. And the players can do a little bit better. But I think it is so in that sense, I will move the bar a little bit to like 75, 25, 80, 20.
Yeah.
But Motta is responsible in the end for what these guys do on the field on a given day. It's as simple as that, and there's no other way to rationalize it.
You've got to put it together as a coach. That's a coach's job. A coach's job isn't to teach these guys how to play. It's to watch this team play and put together the deficiencies, correct the errors. But that's the problem I'm having. Nothing's being corrected. And if we brought this guy in, number one, on the cheap, okay? Number two, because he did something with a roster with low wages, and the idea is with a better roster should come better results. And now all of a sudden we got to say that we got to bring more in. He doesn't have enough. Like we need to go and spend even more. Okay, pump the brakes, because we're not talking about even taking the title. We're giving him time to build up for the title run. We're giving him time for that. What I don't have time for is putting in uninspiring showings against teams you should be getting W's against, and you can't. And now the issues that we're hearing about behind the scenes that potentially could be true, it's a big problem. It's a big problem. We got to see. Today,
how many games did Motta get? Just the one?
Yeah, he'll miss today. And we get to today. Atalanta in their past 5, 3 wins, 2 draws. Bad draw there. A last one, Udinese. Actually, Atalanta fortunate not to suffer defeat there, but they're going to want to get back to winning ways. They're at home for this one. And they know what's going on with us, because when you're at a team that has as much coverage as Juventus does, all the rumblings, all the smoke, it all gets out, and they're going to want to come at us. And I don't blame them. Take advantage. Get the jump on us. Retegui should still be out for Atalanta. I do have the lineups. A lot of noise around us. 1 win, 4 draws in the last 5 in Serie A for Juve. Motta, like I said, inching closer to that hot seat. No Conceição, no Vlahovic again. We'll go through the lineups because there's a variation there too. So real quick, we'll get to Atalanta first, just to show what we should, and it's as expected. So Golenasic, in there, Scalvini, Bellanova, Ederson, Derun, Zappacosta with Palasic just ahead of everyone in the midfield behind De Catalare and Lookman. Carnesecchi, of course, in goal. For Juve, this is the variation, but I'm going to tell you what Albanese reported that is different to this. So this is what we're getting, obviously, from a couple of apps. You could see SofaScore's this one. There's a couple other ones that have this one. Di Gregorio, Savona, Gatti, Kalulu, McKennie. We're getting Cambiasso starting at the left back, according to a ton of the credible ones. So I'd expect Cambiasso there. Locatelli, Thuram, Cope Miners as the advanced mid. That's pretty much a lock, according to all the sources. Yildiz on the right, a lock. Gonzalez up top, it's a lock. Vlahovic is out. Got no other strikers. Weah on the left, that's where the change comes into play, is that McKennie is actually rumored to be starting on that left wing. Let's get into this because right away people are just like, what the hell is going on? Why, like, is Motta overthinking it now? Like, McKennie as your left winger. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
The one worry I have with McKennie as a left winger is that he's gonna float to the middle, and Koopmeier is gonna float to the left, and when Koopmeier gets anywhere near that wing, he's just out of the game. That's my fear. I'm not gonna say that that's how they're gonna set it up, but it's just naturally whenever McKennie's up there, he likes to be beside the striker. Yeah. And I think that's where he fits best, is beside the striker when he's playing in an advanced role.
Paulo, what do you think? What do you think about this whole McKennie on the left wing?
I think it's stupid.
I agree.
I think Bangala has played great. You got to put him in. I would actually, to kind of throw a wrench in it, I was actually thinking about this last night, and I would actually not start Coop. He struggled. I wouldn't throw him out into his old haunting grounds and the situation that he's in, the way he's playing with that kind of added pressure, and I wouldn't play him in that spot. So I'd put Bangala out there on the left. I would get Cambiasso in if he's fit, obviously. I'd get Luiz in because if you get Luiz in there with Thuram and do the 4-1 with Locatelli backing up Luiz and Thuram, I think you've got a better setup that's going to be more aggressive, and Luiz will have that cover that he had with Aston Villa when he used to play everything forward quickly. He had, I think it was Kamara behind him. So you'd have Locatelli behind him, and I would bring on Coop at some point to let him have his way when the game is settled a bit and you know where you are. I wouldn't throw him in to start with.
You're saying 4-1-4-1 would be
something like that,
okay.
Yeah.
I immediately I'm thinking, even if your plan is to sit back and probably try to weather some storm and then counter on Atalanta, it still doesn't make sense to me to have McKennie in that spot, because if you're going to try and hit a counter game, why would you take pace away from yourself in those positions that are used to get advanced? The second thing that comes to my mind immediately is you have a team that struggles to create, and the wingers are crucial. They've been crucial for us in creating anything. And you're going to take another one away from your lineup, it's not really adding up to me. I think he's overthinking it. I think it's unnecessary. And if you're going to play McKennie in this game, Thuram and Locatelli do not leave the pitch for me based on the way they've played so far, and they're in this game. Koopmeiners is like, in this role, it's not working. If you switch this up and you put Locatelli as a deep line guy and you had Thuram advance with Koopmeiners as a 4-1-4-1, I could see it, okay? But that's what's got to happen. You got to make up your mind, because Koopmeiners will play this role the same way he has every single other game, and it's going to be starting off from one side and then advancing up into this 10, and it's a hybrid. It's the same shit we saw with Pirlo that never worked with the three guys he tried to make it work with. A typical 10 will stay central all the time and drop straight down. He doesn't have to make this run and waste all this energy and go all the way out to the right flank. No, it's nonsense. So you either split your pivots up and he works centrally the entire time. Or you just get your playmaker in there, period, if you want to run a 10. Otherwise, you run two box-to-box guys and just keep it simple. The hybrid shit, all this overthinking, whatever, it just ain't working. And at the end of the day, the simple shit, the fundamentals are failing as well, and you're trying to run complexities in how these roles are played. No. Simplify, make it easy. 4-1-4-1 or 4-3-3 if you want to look at it that way, with two box-to-box guys, and keep your guys in natural fucking positions. Get a left winger out there and stop fucking around, period. And if Koopmeiners ain't the guy in there, then you play McKennie in the midfield if you want him in the pitch. If you believe McKennie needs to be out there in this game today, then play him out of the midfield and sit Coop, okay? Because I've had it with the fucking around. Enough's enough. Let's get the job done and stop overcomplicating things. As far as this game and Cope Miners, it's the last team he played for. He made a big transfer. He's going to be in the starting lineup. Motta won't sit him. If I don't see some fire or some flash out of his game against the guys he just left for on the big, then it's going to take a big hit on my overall outlook on this player. And maybe I'm being, too hard or whatnot, but seriously, we've been patient. You could see the good that he's capable of, but the handbrake has to come off. This is your ex-team. You made a big move to us. You're going back to Atalanta. They're going to treat you like shit. Be ready for it, and I want to see a reaction. Fair, you guys?
I wouldn't say my overall thinking on is going to take a big hit. I agree with everything else. It's going to be hostile. You gotta step up.
I don't think you start him. I mean, but I get why you said you do. The guy's been struggling. So you're going to take the guy who's struggling, put him in a position that hasn't worked yet all year, and say, get ready, prove yourself. Again, at home, for 60 million, in front of your fans, you're going to be up your ass all game. There you go. Thank me later. A coach with some kind of confidence and gamemanship would say, you know what, Coop? Bear with me. I'm going to sit you for a bit so you don't get the heat right out of the gate. You're going to come on and you're going to destroy these guys. But I've got Luis, who right now is a little bit of a hot take, and I'm going to put him in because I'm going to fuck with these guys and do something that they're not expecting because they don't have strikers right now. And I'm going to play with possession, and I'm going to try Luis pushing forward. We're going to try something different. We're going to surprise him, and you're going to come in when the heats come down a bit, and then you're going to put in the final strike for us or something, right? No, I don't.
It's just
it's the same shit. It's the same shit.
And then what you hear, player meetings and everything, you got a guy like Mbangula. Motta comes out in the presser and he says, I'm shocked at the growth that he's shown in the season. Well, then stop fucking taking him off when he's out there and he's having good games. Stop subbing him off. Sub somebody else off. His substitutions, it's not like there's one thing that's gone on, right? Like, there is multiple levels to this where Motta's maybe just seeming a little bit out of sorts. Today is a big one. It's a big, big game. And we've said this how many times? You need a reaction. We need a reaction after the Derby della Mola. Do we expect one? It's time for the prediction, everybody, but we're going to go through key stats. We're going to get all the stats officials and everything from Skanga. That's going to be set to Tony, okay? But let's go. Atalanta are undefeated in their last 14 matches in Serie A, but they are winless in the last 3 games across all comps. Juve undefeated in the last 27 matches in Serie A. Juve undefeated in 19 of their last 21 matches away to Atalanta, spreading across all competitions.
Say that last one again.
19. We are undefeated in 19 out of our last 21 away matches against Atalanta in all comps. So we've only lost twice out of 21 away.
That's surprising because these guys are a fucking boogeyman.
Because they've been a bit of a pain in the ass as of late. It felt like that anyways, but when you look at those numbers, really hasn't. So, Skanga, the official, the odds, and let's get to predictions, and you could kick us off with the predictions.
Is Retige does he not start? Or is he injured?
He's actually out for them.
He's out. Okay.
He's out. Yeah, I actually didn't even realize that.
He might be on the bench though, isn't he? Wasn't he training this week?
He's close, but he's still out. I don't know if he makes the bench. I'll check it right now. But Skanga, hit us with the odds and everything. No, it doesn't show him on the actual list, so he'll probably be on the bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the referee today, the referee today seasoned referee, Daniele Doveri. So he's done. Everybody, once you see him, you're like, oh, that guy. 211 Serie A matches, right there with the 4.5 yellows per game. Low on the red cards. 47 reds in 211 games, so that's 22% hit rate. 65 PKs in 211 matches. That's a 30% hit rate. So,
all right,
don't expect anything like that. Well, you never know with the PKs. He hasn't had a lot of work this year, which is the only concerning thing. He's only worked 7 Serie A matches. You know, you like a referee who kind of is in the swing of things, but he did our match against Napoli in the 0-0, and then he worked the Atalanta win over Napoli at Napoli, the 3-0 win for Atalanta. So other than that, I wouldn't expect much from him. Betting lines, Juve is a heavy underdog here at plus 280 away from home, which I thought was fine until you read that 19-21, which I thought was surprising. Draw is plus 210. I'll take, if we're going to get into the predictions.
Final score, 2 tiebreakers, and everybody, Retegui is back, but not, and I checked more lineups, and still not expected to start across the board, but he's not on the injured list anymore. So, Paolo, okay. You're right there.
For me, this game can go 2 ways based on that players only meeting. This game is going to go 2-1 Juve or 4-0 Atalanta. I don't think there's anything in between. I think it's like a tough grind. We grind out a win. I don't want to say draw because we've had enough of those fucking things. Or it's just an absolute annihilation like with Empoli last year. Just an embarrassment. I'm going to go with the 2-1 win Juventus, which is plus 1,300. I'll take that money. I'm going with Thuram at plus 700 to score and Nico Gonzalez at plus 330. I'm also taking a Cope Minor assist at plus 320. I saw somebody else have that in here. I'm also taking for a bet at plus 610, Juventus to have over 3.5 cards. Based on the players only me, I think they're going to be a little fired up. I think Locatelli's going to take an early yellow, and that's going to lead the way into a couple more late yellow cards. Come on, 4 yellow cards, boys. Diet needs a new pair of shoes. 2-1.
Okay, everybody get the likes up. Let's go. We're going to hit your predictions, but we're going to get Paulo's in here first. What do you got? Snarky today, so it's going to be a snarky prediction.
Yeah,
7-0 Atalanta.
Everything's telling me we should lose this game based on what's going on in the chaos. When a coach says we're angry and we're playing angry and all this stuff, it turns into mistakes, cards, lack of concentration, all those things. So I think our first loss is writing on the wall. However, Motta's not there to fuck it up anymore than he already might have with the starting lineup. The players rise to the occasion on the road when they're behind in a tough spot. Yep. So I think we'll pull out a classic, a tie, 1-1.
1-1 draw, yeah.
I think Nico's going to hit the ball with his foot, not his shin. And I think he gets a nice pass from Yildiz.
All right. Primo Calcio coming in here, 1-0 Juve. RB, 2-1 to Atalanta, first Serie A defeat. We've got 2-2 for Thiago Motta. Will be at it again. 2-0 for Atalanta. We've got a 1-0 with Cope Miners. Oh my God. Just give me a win. I don't even care who scores.
There's nothing in the data, in the stats, and on the field that says we keep a clean sheet today. There is nothing out there that says we keep these guys off the clean sheet.
5-1 Atalanta from Tuna.
Ouch.
Holy. Aldo, if it's 2-1, it'll be 2-2. Forza Juve saying 0-0. We've got Suarez with a 2-1 Atalanta victory, first L of Serie A. We've got Giratina 70 with a 3-2 Juve victory. Would be a wild one. 1-1, and it's still a shit result. Juve 2-1 from Luca. Ryan coming 2-0 to Atalanta. So my immediate thoughts are with the chaos around us and everything. It's not the right frame of mind to be going into this thing. You had a players meeting. You've got a coach that's not even on the sideline. We're not keeping a clean sheet. Can't see that happening. So if you want to win this game, we're going to need multiple goals. I feel like we're going to need 2 goals to draw this game, and I don't know if we're going to have it. My gut's telling me it's a 2-1 L, and when's the last time I've hit you with a loss prediction? I'm always the optimist coming into these friggin' things. Like, I'll call draws, I won't call L's, and I got a feeling, everybody, it's going to be the first L in Serie A, just the way everything's trending, and I don't know if we've got enough to break it. The one thing that has me thinking, if he stays away from McKennie as a winger, if we do clamp down like we played against Man City and we want to hit on counters, and you've got a guy with crazy pace and better technical ability like Nico Gonzalez at the top, we could maybe sting them and we could maybe catch them a little off guard. Are we going to fight for that possession battle? If we're going to try to be controlling on them, the way that they will play in their 3-5-2, they're going to have flanks shut down, and it's going to have to go through the middle. We might fall into the trap of what we've seen. Not a true playmaker in the center of the pitch, and Cole Miners isn't really proven to be that guy. He's better from deeper and making runs in. So how do we play it? Not knowing that, I don't know. If we try to play the counter game, I believe we can maybe squeak a narrow win out. If we want to try and play our game against them, I think it's going to be tough sledding. But my gut's telling me 2-1 Atalanta, everybody.
I see, and this is like, you can't get mad at that because there's nothing that anyone can say to be like, well, let's look at how we're playing this way to, persuade you the other way. There's nothing there. I think we got to score 2, as I agree with that, and we got to score 2 early. I don't think there's this time for 2 late goals. We got to hit them quick.
The game plan's got to be on point, and your players, the guys that you lay out there, have to be spot on. So any shortcomings that we're calling now, if it plays out that way, is going to look very bad on Motta if he goes with a couple of these decisions, and the game plan in general. We've said his best performance, like the team's best performance where they looked in unison, the best as a team, was that Man City game. And that was away from the kind of ball that he wants to play. Does he fight for that ball today, or does he have them set up to weather the storm and strike and be dangerous in countering, and maybe that makes us look better as a team? It's tough. We'll see. And Suarez says that's the first time he's ever seen it. Me predict an L, but my gut's telling me it's going to be an L today, and I hope I'm dead wrong. I would love to eat all my words. I would love for every decision he makes to be spot on. I would love for, if McKennie plays the left wing, to bag a friggin' brace in the ugliest of fashions. I don't care. Let it happen. But it's tough. And maybe there's a little reverse jinx in there in calling the L. Maybe there's a little bit of a reverse jinx. We'll see.
No.
Guys, it's tough. We're in a hole. We got to dig ourselves out, and that's where everyone's opinion kind of comes into play, and why you get the differences, because it's how confident are you in what we've seen so far that they can dig themselves out of this. And that's where, when we get into the discussions on Motta and his future, if you get into this, okay, it's this fine line of, we all know the importance, the significance of the revenue and that loss. And when you look at Milan, Napoli, Inter, we've got by far the highest costs per season. So you take away, we were like 60 to 70 mil difference in revenue last season because we weren't in European play. And again, we're already at 70 this year in gains. You take that away, it's a big problem. And it ultimately comes down to, how much faith do you have? I understand people looking at it almost in a vacuum. The guy's only been around for 6 months. That's a short period of time. But guess what? Results matter. It doesn't matter how long he's been around. It's the results that count. You could be doing a shit job in a month and be sacked if it's deemed that bad.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is, what is it? You get close to that breaking point. He's not far from it. Today, that's a big one. That's a big one. Let's see what he's got in store for us, but hopefully we can pull it out. Storm the barn. First, Paolo, Skanky, you guys got to storm the barn?
I had one earlier. I got another one here. I know Vince wrote this. I don't know if Vince is still here, but he wrote a question, but he didn't put STB, but I got you, buddy. I got you, Vince. He wrote, who have you lost more faith in, Motta or Giuntoli? I haven't lost faith in Giuntoli. I think like this summer was like his first summer. You got to give a sporting director a couple seasons. If I had to pick, I'd probably lost more faith in Motta. If I had to put between those two, I'd probably Motta.
Yeah, I've got warning signs up for Giuntoli. I'll tell you why in a second, but I'm more on Motta. Paolo?
Yeah, I agree. Giuntoli's left us short. I worry he's spending money he doesn't have, and his attitude sucks when he's not helping this organization present themselves and their plans and their views and positions to the fans and explain how things are going to keep things level with the audience out there. So, but the results are Motta's.
Yeah. Motta for sure for me. Giuntoli's got some flags up. Number one, he's going hand in hand with a lot of these things that we're hearing about that are Danilo, like this treatment, this push out and everything, and especially to go to Napoli, regardless of if they're higher than us in the stands, we can't get in the rate. You just don't do shit like that. We get no favors in return. It's a part of this whole thing. But treatment, player treatment, etc., and all of this, we always thought that when Scanavino and Ferraro came in, I called it from the get-go. I said, guys, these guys are temps. Don't look for anything of some type of influence, some type of just anything whatsoever coming from these guys. So when Giuntoli came in, we started to think, okay, holy shit, he's been a Juventino like his whole life. Maybe this is the guy they see to bring some type of culture, to try and establish something, to try and clean things up. But now as it runs, and Motta's really getting the focus on it for player treatment, etc., and guys pushed out and just no. And Giuntoli's going along with it because, and what is he going to do? If he hired Motta and he's like, I'm not playing this guy, I'm not using this guy, we're not going to pay him. So guys like Rugani, etc., they're shipped out. And did Giuntoli, I guess where I'm getting at, did Giuntoli in one way shoot himself in the fucking foot for trying to do something for the guy he brought in and hired? Is he not having a backbone about it? Or does he feel the same way and this is the kind of treatment we want to give these guys? I'm kind of like stuck in not knowing where I stand with Giuntoli 100%, but I have flags up.
I still give him a pass because the Bremer and Cabal, those two guys going down, completely changes your team. So yes, he didn't bring in a free agent, but those can be expensive on the salary. You have the January window where you can really go after some different targets. So for me, the jury is still way out on Giuntoli. I still have like a lot of time to put like some judgment on him.
We're just not there yet. Yeah. That's fine. That's fair. Paulo, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I did want to add that I think he's added some great players. Great as in I'm really happy about them, not they are worldies, but he's added some really good quality players. I like what he's had to do in the Mercato so far in turning this team around. So I am pleased with his work in that sense. But I don't know Motta and Giuntoli personally. I don't know if the way Motta goes is the way Giuntoli goes, because this is his show, right? And Motta's his guy. So he can't fire Motta and not look like a failure himself or responsible for picking the wrong guy. And for all I know, Motta could be just a great middle manager who says, yes, Giuntoli, yeah, I agree. Or yes, Giuntoli, I'll go say that. Or yes, Giuntoli, 100% confidence. Like, I don't know these guys. Yeah. So I think Giuntoli's probably the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. But I still like what he's done with a lot of the players.
Yeah.
Hopefully he didn't pick a bad coach if it's on him.
It's tough right now. Look, everything's going to be under the microscope at Juve, even at the best of times. But when you struggle like this and you're not pulling up wins, yeah, the zoom's gonna dial up. Let's see. Swati, how much would you sell Dusan for with Jesus' ACL injury and Saka's injury as well? Could Tin Pot Arsenal pull the trigger for Dusan? I mean, never say never. And it could happen. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like our look without him in there. I don't really like our look sometimes with him in there. I feel like, and this is again going back to our coach, you play Gonzalez in there and you're still looking for a target man and you're still playing aerial balls in. It just doesn't line up one way or another. Getting the money off the books, if we can who are you going to make a move for in January? So you take him away, you're skinny now as it is, bring me two. So who are the two?
Yeah.
How much would I sell Duchamp for? As much as we can get, period.
Realistically?
But in January, I still think it's tough. But you know what? He might be at the point where he wants it, especially if there's any truth to what we're hearing behind the scenes, right? So
you'd get more money for him in January, but it's a complete disaster if we sell him
with Arsenal being where they're at and needing somebody with the injuries and stuff. You could probably get more. You could squeeze more out of that lemon, but I still overall, it pisses me off. Like, it's bittersweet. Right? It'd be great to get the deal, the best possible deal you can at this moment, knowing that you're inevitably heading for a goodbye in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, you guys, you go back to top four and you go back to needing a striker and you go back to this team playing with or without him. It's another body gone, and who's coming in? Alberto Costa's cousin? That's 22 years old, playing in Portugal, that we're going to pick up for 7 million, payable over 10 years. It's tough.
Tell me that's a real thing. Tell me that's a real thing.
Arsenal got.
I totally just made that up. Yeah.
Arsenal got rinsed on the weekend with Havertz missing all kinds of opportunities, and what's his face, Jesus going down. I think Arsenal's gonna throw money at this. I think we could easily get. I want to get as much money out of Arsenal as we can if this is the way it goes down. I don't want to see Duchamp go. But I would not be one bit surprised if Juve says we want 80 and Arsenal comes in somewhere around 65, 67, some bonuses. We turn that money around and we get, what's his face, Kolomuani from PSG, who just picked up Kvaratskhelia. I'm just ruining that name, sorry. And they need, and they need to unload Kolomuani. So then we'll have some money for him. We'll throw 20 million at what's his face here or their defense center back.
Yeah. The Canadian
I think
lad,
it can happen.
So Jonathan David, non-European spot, it would never be able to work in January. And I would never expect Lyon to move him in January with what they've got going on and what he's doing in the season. It was always, they'd want to get something rather than nothing, but they also have to look at their stuff. But the non-European spots is the kicker there. When you get to Kolomuani, well, yeah, apparently it's in our hands, and maybe that's why Duchamp, if the rumors are true that he's been able to play and they keep him out and they're pushing for it and everybody's pushing for this move, that could be it, because Kolomuani apparently wants Juve and he is ours. We just have to find terms, and we want loan with option, and PSG ain't giving in. So this sale maybe facilitates that, but that is the shit show. That is the January Mercato, everybody. It's a big game of dominoes. We need too much to happen.
I would both be completely shocked, yet not surprised if we sold Duchamp.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone in January, and I think Juntali needs money, and he needs a lot of it. And this is his one ticket.
It is. It's a big ticket. But there's a lot of risk in filling the hole, right? Like you're right. Like, okay, I will sell it.
Yeah,
I'll sell him, but there's a lot of ifs. And if
you know what? You know what's crazy here too is there's nothing stopping. Like, the process is key here. You move Vlahovic, Arsenal then, okay, yeah, you move Vlahovic, and then PSG goes, well, you just got your money. Guess what? Kolo Muani, we actually want this much.
Yeah, but
It
there's conditions. You can do conditions on this.
everything matters, man. It's risky. It's risky because they
Like
could play
like
that
when you
game
buy a
quite
house.
easily.
When you buy a house, right? You have to sell your other one first. So I think there's probably conditions here at play. But it's risky. I'd love to see Duchamp stay, frankly, but
And
I think
Kolo
it's
Muani in general, I'm just gonna be honest with everybody. I'm
yeah.
on the fence. Like I'm iffy with this guy. If you can't really stand out in the French league, but talent, yeah, he's got pace. He's good technically. He can play anywhere across the front. I get it, but I'm iffy on that one. And if the splash is big, but again, we're almost handcuffing ourselves. So it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot to be in. We're gonna machine gun some of these. Is it impressive that we haven't lost a game yet in the league? Is it impressive? I mean, yeah, it doesn't feel impressive, but I mean, it's impressive maybe because of how big a shit show we seem at times that we're still undefeated.
I said this in the post game. We haven't been outplayed in an entire 90 minutes in very many games. Stuttgart's the only one I can sort of think of. Other than that, we've been outplayed again in moments where we kind of lapse, but there's been no game where we've been under immense pressure for more than 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah, we've also not
maybe
done enough to deserve games like more than these draws. So it's like, I mean, is it impressive? Yeah, I mean it kind of is. But I said, wouldn't this be something? I put it in the chat yesterday. If we draw these 3 games, Atalanta, Milan, Napoli, and a gap is created for 4. Because Elkan's nervous back there, everybody. Don't think he's rattled right now. Because there's been several meetings with them. And imagine you draw those 3 games, a gap opens up on 4th. Would he be the first guy sacked that's undefeated in league play? I don't know if I've ever seen a guy that's undefeated get sacked. And I'm just throwing the hypothetical. I'm not saying he has to be if we draw those 3 games. I'm just saying top 4 is a must. Is it a must for Juve? I think you've got your indications from Giuntoli when he said top 4 is the aim, Champions League qualification, and the fact that what did we hear before when it came to this year's tournament? Round of 16 is what they're banking. These guys have already made their calculations. They know where they need to be. And exactly.
They're budgeting money they haven't earned yet.
It's a must. They're banking on money they haven't earned yet. It's a dangerous spot to be in, and that's why time, all this, yeah, Motta may need more time, but guess what? We might not be able to afford it. How much he needs. What the question is, how much? We might not be able to afford it.
This is what RB wants to hear. You're right, RB. We were outplayed in the Bologna game too. That's 2 games out of 26.
We were, yeah,
But we came back and tied it.
Yeah. The draws. Another problem I have with Motta is too much whining and bitching at the ref. You know what? I actually kind of feel that too. How about you stop crying at the ref, Motta, and get your players performing? Remember at the start of the year, there was a different attitude in the games. Did you guys feel that? There was a way different attitude. We didn't see guys on the pitch sulking, moaning, or bitching or anything.
I haven't
Not
noticed.
even Dusan.
You haven't really noticed it? I've noticed it.
I think everyone says it, but I personally I haven't noticed it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but you can.
It's been a lot, man. Like a lot. Okay. A lot of calls, a lot of like just fouls that happen, and he's just like, it feels like it's a moment where you maybe make a stand, like you're like, come on, right? Like come on. And he's like at 10 already, and it's like, dude, it's not that crazy. So I think it's natural, to be honest, but it does suck because I've noticed it with players as well as time's gone on, and that's a natural thing too, and that's part of a coach too. Rein in the focus, the concentration, the attitude, because at the start of the year, we were the opposite. We were battling through. We didn't bitch, moan, piss and moan. Like we were just play. And as time's gone on, that has faded. So I don't like that. No watch along today, my friend. Apologies. Well, not really, because I got to work. Get those likes up, though. God damn it. Let's go. Giratina70, I have a feeling that Alberto Costa will really help Juve. His huge pace and his willingness to take more risk will be big down the right side. What's your thoughts on the move? It's a support piece. I'm not going to go over the top with it. I mean, there's a drastic difference to Vittoria SC and Juve and everything. Savona is by no means to be brushed off whatsoever. It's a support piece. So we'll take it and go and see what happens. Yeah, I'm not going to put too much stock into it, but it's a good signing. It's a good move. It helps us a little bit, but we still need center backs and a striker. So it's not what we are looking for, but I'm
Where the
happy
hell is
about it.
Milik?
Oh, this guy's gone. This guy's the triangle, the Bermuda Triangle got him long ago, man, long ago. Our club is losing its history and our winning mentality, and we need to find it again. I think there is only one man capable for the job. Gio for Juve president. My pops. Oh, I don't know if you guys are ready for that. If you think treatment, I'll tell you what, man. Holy, as a kid, I couldn't make a mistake on the pitch, like a single mistake. This guy was letting me have it. I remember bagging goals and coming in the car and being like, hey, remember that shot you missed? Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Pops. Thanks. I do stand firm on what I've said a lot lately is I was wrong in thinking that Giuntoli would be kind of used to mold some type of culture, something behind the scenes. I don't think he's that guy. So changes should happen regardless of what happens with Giuntoli, Motta, etc. I think we need that guy at the top. And we did get a bit of news this week in Chiellini taking the journey to one day and following the path that guides him to one day being a president. Man, that would be pretty damn cool from an aspect of this guy who I would put in.
That's Ferraro out, right? That's
yeah. Well, honestly, it should be both those guys, the Panda Bear and the fucking banker. God damn! Every time I wear just all dark, this camera's focus gets funny. But Chiellini would be cool. Is he the right guy? Maybe not. But I think you have to start taking shots at the top and getting a guy with some type of vision, and it needs to be somebody that's got, I think, ties and allegiance in the club that knows what he's trying to do or can maybe pinpoint where the errors are, because takeovers in business are, it's like you come in, you usually weigh things out, right? You see kind of what's happening and then you're like, okay, this needs to change this, and this, and then you map out your strategy. What's the priorities? Where do we go from here, right? I thought that's what was happening with Giuntoli because he didn't even act for the first year. You still had Cherubini and Manna who were in there. And it was like, okay, they're going to clean up the mess. Giuntoli's going to kind of watch things. And then when he fully gets the reins, it's be like, boom, this is what we're doing. But it just feels like nothing as far as the culture or anything like that has been changed whatsoever. Like,
what's with the Panda Bear? Am I missing something there?
That's Ferraro.
Okay.
He looks like a damn panda bear. Like, it's just shaggy ass hair that's balding, just like.
But we said it 4 years ago. These guys are all temps.
Yeah.
It's just taken a while to
not Giuntoli, but like Ferraro and Scannavini are temps for sure. They were brought in on a cleanup job. Got no. They do nothing, know nothing about the game or anything like that. So, we've got. Let's keep her going.
Forza Inter had a couple good ones. Thanks for your support, by the way. Appreciate it.
Forza Inter, what's he got? You predicted the Lazio and Fiorentina collapse, but you guys have taken advantage of it. January ends with loss to Milan, Atalanta, and Napoli. Do you guys fire Motta before February?
If you lose those 3 games, I don't think Milan or Napoli are going to give us as much trouble as Atalanta does. They're just our boogeyman for some reason. Atalanta always just seems to play us better. Maybe we match up better with the other two. If we lose those 3 games, it's going to get loud.
Speaking of management too, like the sponsor thing really pissed me off. Hearing that we have 4. So you've got a team that's struggling for money and you're going into like a window. You're looking for this. You don't like, you've got 4 options ahead of you and you're playing games trying to strong arm into and leverage one of these offers into a better offer from somebody else. In the end, they all laugh at you and give you the day. Come on, man. Calvo, what the fuck, man?
I had a quick one about that because I was in and out of that episode.
Yeah.
First of all, I think it's illegal to leverage one offer against another. I don't think you're allowed to do that. I'm no marketing expert, but I'm pretty sure in business
this is Italy, Scanga.
Fuck, true. God damn it. That's right. But
got
also
phone taps for fuck's sakes.
But also, you don't know what the terms at these spots. They might have wanted all next season too. Calvin might have just wanted 6 months. They might have wanted like a 2-year deal. So
we don't know the offers or the sponsors, the quality of them. There's no excuse for not picking somebody though, but it's a bit of arrogance again to think that you can wait.
I think in the circumstances, right? Like you got a responsibility to understand that you need it. You're still 200 in the hole overall on the finances, and
it's still
it's a little light in the loafers, as they say. So yeah.
But Berto, to Inter's point, we can't win, but we also can't lose. So I think we can easily get a couple of ties out of those games. I don't think we're losing all 3.
The thing is the gap. Like I say again, that 4th spot, if it gets in serious danger, does 2 draws do it? Does 3 draws do it? Does 1 win and 2? We don't know because it depends on what the other teams do. So we have to wait and see. What do we got? You face who's your poop shape reality. Napoli buys Kvara for 13.3 million and selling for over 60 million. Juve 83.5 and selling maybe 50, 60 mil. Do the math. See the progress regression sucks. Well, yeah, if you're gonna highlight the Duchan move, yes. The thing in football though is the amortization is what ultimately ends up being the key, and the teams just want to see capital come the end of the term, and whenever that's not happening, that's where you get into the scenarios like Arthur. And by the way, still waiting for that move to materialize. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, okay? But yeah, I mean, obviously you want to hit, and maybe we've got some guys that could represent that for us, because we do. The thing is, right now, we don't want to sell them. But if anybody's coming in for Cambiasso, if anybody's coming in for Yildiz, those are pure capital, and you ain't selling those guys for anything light, like big money. So
they'll be both over 40.
We have now developed the potential to kind of get into that method. Right now, it's the circumstances around us that suck, that leave us in these desperate times. And negotiations will always suck when everybody knows where you're at. It's just, you got no leverage, right? Is Juve's drama a result of issues above Giuntoli and Motta? The club feels like it's run like a small one. Time for big club leadership. Agnelli comeback. I do believe we need somebody at the top. I'm still on the fence if it's Agnelli's comeback.
I don't think the play on the field has anything to do with Ferraro or Calvo or Scandavino or whoever, or Elkin or whoever. It's Motta having to figure it out with the players. Him and Giuntoli put those players in the park. He's got to figure it out. I think it's anything
if I'm
above
looking
that.
at above Giuntoli and Motta, it's more so like the treatment side of things and the decision making and pushing guys out, leaving yourself thin. It's more stuff like that. Like, hey man, like, what's going on with the squad building thing? And like, why are they getting pushed out? We don't know. Like, is it personal things? Like, I find it hard to believe that this guy couldn't have used Rugani, who's happy to be 5th or 6th on the depth chart, to stick around on a salary that, whatever, 3 mil? Something
But
like
do
that?
Rugani, do Scandavino and Ferraro and Calvo have any is their input really worth anything on like pushing Danilo out?
No, but if you had a guy that actually knew what a locker room was like or what the game is like, they probably would have stepped and been like, no, I'm not down with this move, just like Agnelli used to do.
Maybe the
And
answer is
Agnelli
that
had
the
a
job
guy
is,
right next to him that was essentially a mediator between the locker room and himself in Pavel Nedved. And that's a great guy to actually do that, even though everybody gave him flack. I don't know what this guy does. I don't know whatever. Well, guess what? It was part of the decade of dominance, and we didn't have bullshit. You still had some brutal farewells. I think so, but the locker room wasn't a mess until CR7 came in and everything changed. And now we don't have anybody to kind of rein it in. Like the whole culture thing. It all started to crumble with that move. Scored a lot of goals though. Agnelli comeback, I'm on the fence. Paulo, yes or no? Agnelli.
well, I think to answer that last question, the drama is because I don't think there's anybody above Giuntoli and Motta. I think it feels like they're running this whole thing and no one else is doing anything or can do anything. So Agnelli in to be above those two and set everything straight again would be great. But somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
But I look at Napoli and you have the owner sticking his nose into business. It's like, I don't know.
Berto, is it possible that unconsciously your leash is shorter for Motta because of his ties with Merda? If that was the case, I wouldn't have had him as my choice in the summer. I don't care about 53 games played with that shit club. The true scumbags of Serie A. But Meran had another one. I don't think he put Storm the Barn on it, but I saw it earlier. I got you. Sometimes my memory doesn't always fail me. He said same question Skanga posed before, but to Paulo, and that was, are we closer to turning it around or the wheels completely falling off, in your personal opinion?
We're closer to the wheels falling off. Can't anybody feel it? That's an opinion. It's been, and I don't want to sound panicky. I don't want to be Motta out. I don't believe in the plans for this year and the Mercato and even better next year, whatever. But I do think I haven't seen it this year, and it's halfway through the season, and I'm really anxious and I'm really worried, and nothing's changing. So I don't see it going anywhere else but over the edge right now, and I don't like it.
My thing was I'm the other way because we have no losses. So we're right there. Like they're all draws. If we had more losses, that'd be like, oh, we're in some trouble. But
that's what I tell my son.
We're like 6 mental breaks away from having 6 more wins.
I don't know.
I like your attitude, Skanga. I like your attitude a lot.
It's like
I'm not feeling it.
Everybody with me. Just come on.
I feel like we were there before. I feel like we were way closer to like being a really difficult team to play against, and we could have really caused some problems. But the longer that all these draws come up, yeah, it's great. We're not losing, but we're also not making progress. Is that a case
for how bad our opposition is? Is Serie A down because we're not playing well, but we're still drawing games, and no one's all over us except for Bologna and somebody else. That's a bit of a testament to how maybe bad the opponent like Serie A is too. Maybe I don't know.
There's a lot of bad teams, but every game for the past 15 games has been a crucial game, important game. Need the 3 points. Every game's been that important. In every game, it's been some kind of mess.
This is interesting because Eric comes in saying Motta has an unfair shake because Juventini have been patient for like 7 years to kind of get turnaround, project after project, failed coach after failed coach. We just have no patience for Motta. Now,
it's true.
It kind of is. I mean, but it's not necessarily Motta that I don't have the patience for. It's just the situation. Like we simply can't afford, and it's because of where we're at. we can't afford to wait I don't want to wait even longer when I believe you have a team that should qualify for top 4. So it's not that I don't have patience with Motta. Motta safely gets in top 4. I'm fine waiting another season and giving him another window and everything. But what I'm not fine with is delaying everything even further and taking another couple steps back when I personally feel top 4 is not an achievement with the team we have. It is a bare minimum result. That's just...
We talked about this in the post-game show. It's like, we sort of disagree, but it's like we backed ourselves in a corner. Like you have to get top 4 financially. So yes, he should get his fair shake a season or two, but unfortunately, financially,
it just results matter, and top 4 matters. Revenue matters. So I get it feeling unfair, but he also signed up for it. Do you think that he walked into that boardroom and they weren't like, okay, like this is what we're dealing with, this is what we have, like this year, we need to do this, this, and this? I'm sure they did. And if they didn't, my God, what the hell are we running? Of course they did.
He knew what he was signing up for.
He knew what he signed up for. So it's the nature of the business. And again, whether he's with us for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, if he failed in 1 month, at the end of the day, you've got objectives. They got to be met. Top 4 has to. Atalanta today. Woo! First L I predicted, and I can't remember how long. Probably at sometime around after Maccabi Haifa when I was really fuming. Okay.
That was a down.
Yeah. After that one, I think I predicted a few L's because I was just like, anything can happen now. But yeah, all the nonsense, all the chaos, all the bullshit. Like, hey, it either sparks us, fires us up. We need a spark. You need something, and we're waiting for it over and over and over. So faith is kind of down. Confidence definitely down. It's up to the guys to get out there, get the job done, and prove it to us. Motta will be watching from the stands, and we'll be tuning in from the TV sets. Let's see what happens. And then tomorrow morning, post-match pod, and then we're going to cover it. And just give me that victory show. Give me that victory show, because we need it. Damn, do we need it. So
it's not impossible. Not impossible.
We can go with everybody. That's the part that frustrates me, is that when we're playing well, we can go with anybody that's out there. So come on. Show us something. Get it together, lads. I don't know what the hell this team meeting was about, but hopefully it brings good and not more negativity. It just comes down to winning. It's the shits when you're not winning, and we got to get back to it. And we have not done it enough this season. Hopefully today we get that victory. Let's see, everybody. Chat, thank you as always. You guys are amazing. Drop a like. What are you guys doing? What are you waiting for? Hit those like buttons. Okay, subscribe if you haven't already. Post-match tomorrow. Skanga, Paulo, absolute pleasure. And pleasure. Despite the snarkiness, you were still a pleasure. It's great.
Until left this guy.
You did this.
Yeah, he started low.
It's good. Started off, yeah. But as the room got more sunlight coming in and everything, I think naturally everything picked up, and hopefully that's a sign of what's to come today. Hopefully let's beat Atalanta today. You guys, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao tutti. We'll see you in the morning. Take care.
Set the tone.